Good evening, family. It's your main man, Dr. Life. Dr. Life, which also stands for lifeguard, in the business of saving lives. First responder, responding to man-made disasters. So, that's a literal, conscious decision and choice that I made to literally sign up and be trained and learn the skills to save lives. When you have these natural disasters, hurricanes, all that type of stuff, there's a need for first responders. That's a natural disaster. And back when I was in Oakwood University, I had a partner of mine, Edward Martin, one of my brothers, who was inspiring me at the moment because he had joined NAPS with Dr. Paul, and already as a young man he was going all over. He was going to Katrina, Trenchtown, Jamaica. Tsunami had hit India or Asia or something. And so they were responding to man-made disasters. I mean, to natural disasters. And I was truly inspired. But at the same time, I had responded to the call to be an alien in this nation. And I had linked up with a group of brothers who had decided to go back to the neighborhoods and the streets where we come from and respond to the man-made disasters that was going on in the slums. The man-made disaster that was going on in the manufactured, socially engineered projects. And no matter what, I knew that if you gonna do something, you gotta have the skills and the ability my thing froze. Ah, man. So anyway, so I knew I had to develop the skill. I needed the skills to literally save lives. And what I've learned is, no matter what talent or investment that has been made into my life, every talent could be used and flipped in the service. Whether it be athletic ability, whether it be access to power, access to inspiration, access to capital. See, I was in an environment where I was getting access to all of these things, access to capital. There was individuals in this environment away from the neighborhood that I had grown up in and away from the world that I was exposed to where positive African American men and women was on their legitimate grind, was on their legal hustles, was on their profitable business ventures. And not only were they on their profitable business ventures, many of them went out of their way to break bread with an up and coming young man that they saw potential in. Many of them, Don Howard, Jason Thomas, Eric Thomas, Derek Green, David Dickie Caldwell, Leon Burnett. Countless individuals invested their business savvy, their business ventures, gave me access. The whole time I'm thinking about the call that I accepted to take every resource and talent that was invested. So each and every individual that I come in contact with, and each and every piece of inspiration that I get access to, each and every piece of empowerment to transform, each and every tangible resource and capital that enabled me to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, I then was trying to figure out a way to take it and break it and flip it and quadruple it and double it and distribute it. So what was done for me can be done for others. So I got a brother named David Woodard. When I was inspired by what Edward Martin was doing, as an elective, I went down and I signed up for the lifeguard training class. And lo and behold, my cousin Sonia, her husband David, is the head lead lifeguard over the CPR class, over the water rescues, over everything. And David ain't playing. David knew his stuff. And David trained me right. And lo and behold, many years later, get down to Orlando, Florida. So this is mid-90s. 10 years later, 2008, 2009. We in Orlando, Florida. After going to Chicago for like 9 years and doing mentoring and outreach and empowerment and everything, but the tool that we was using in Chicago was athletics, was a sports league. We use whatever resource we have to attract and transform and empower and inspire. So in Chicago it's one thing. In a different city it's another thing. Down in Kissimmee, we found science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Robotic surgery program, an individual, Brother Pete, with Community United Outreach and Mount Sinai Sage program, gave us access to the resource of taking young people and giving them access to resources that could transform their mind through inspiration and empowerment. Put you in a small group of individuals in the country that have ever been in the presence of a robotic surgical unit, and to be trained on it and to have hands-on experience This is life transformational. Just by giving individuals access to power. That's all we do. There's nothing that our people can't do if they just get access. This is what we do. Life coaching through giving individuals, starting at the youngest members in the family. We don't exclude any, because of what I'm about to show you, you're going to see there is a direct attack. So we don't exclude anybody. From the youngest, everybody in the family unit has to be invested in and empowered to prevent the family unit from being attacked and eroded. If the kids are empowered, but the parents lack financial literacy, financial access to power, like we saw in 2008 and 2009, after that wonderful lifeguard training program that we gave the kids access to. But then the recession hit, and then people lost their homes, and then people got foreclosed on. People couldn't keep lights on. So it doesn't matter how much you empower. If the prosperity inequality gap is not erased, that's injustice. So in honor of David Woodard and the countless amounts of my brothers and sisters that have invested in us, we have taken all of those resources and talents and we've converted them. We've converted them into tangible currency. Tangible currency to reinvest in the sovereign business model that was left to us. You know, he said, I must be about my father's business. This is a business, a family business. A family business that is under attack. And I'm going to show you the attack. So what's wrong with this picture? Check out this picture that I'm going to show you. First of all, let's see if you think that there's anything wrong with this picture. Then when you do see what's wrong with it, what's the cure? I'm proud to be able to say we have the cure. I'm proud to be able to say because all of the investments, because of all of the access that all of the doors that were open for us, because we didn't see it as an opportunity for self-gratification and self-glorification, but we saw it as an opportunity to serve, to break bread, to feed the 5,000 they daily bread. So we want to proudly say there is a cure, but more importantly, we want to say it's very dangerous to sit idly by and watch this scene continue to unfold. The scene that I'm about to show you is a man-made nightmare. Where some who have a school to millionaire pipeline And those who are oppressed, poor, and have not have a school to prison pipeline. What's wrong with this picture?
Titled Kennedy's Finest Moment, Tufts University professor Peniel Joseph reminded us of this day, June 11th, 50 years ago. That day in history began seeing his country. And as clear as that seems now, nothing...
That ain't the one. My fault, that was the wrong clip. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is credited, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
So here we have President Kennedy, who was assassinated shortly hereafter. Shortly after this speech, the President of the United States was assassinated. So what's wrong with that picture? Why was he assassinated? He was advocating for things done in the shadow and in secrecy to be eradicated. He was advocating for the people to be able to control their own currency, which had been taken away from them prior to the 1900s by federal bank, not owned or ruled by Americans, called the Federal Reserve. And that entity has single-handedly been the cause of the prosperity inequality that we're going to look at today. So I'm going to break right now, and I'm going to come back and finish this. But remember, the question is, what's wrong with this picture of prosperity inequality? We're going to answer that question. We're going to show you the cure.